Hey guys, welcome back. If you didn't catch my other video, I know it's been a little bit, but we're finally feeling better. Uh, so now I'm gonna go over this past Monday Night Raw. Um, the thing to keep in mind with this is that there are several people that are out right now, and so essentially they were trying to do the best with what they had. And personally, I feel like they did a really good job with what they had. So to start the show, we had Randy Orton and Riddle out there, and they're going back and forth, and Riddle's trying to give him this Christmas card, and he's not really having it. But Orton did get into the spirit of things when Riddle welcomed them to the final Monday Night Raw of 2021. Because that's kind of big news, right? Getting to open the show for the last show of the year. So they kind of go back and forth a little bit until they are interrupted by the Alpha Academy. Now, what we're supposed to be getting is Randy Orton versus Otis. And we will get that. But with the Alpha Academy coming out, Riddle, of course, chooses to challenge. Um, I don't know why I'm having trouble thinking of his name. Oh my god. Um, Chad Gable. Excuse me. Wow. So, so Riddle then challenges Chad Gable, and the match went good. They gave them plenty of time, and both had, I guess you could say, some really good shots in there. Um, at the end of the day, Riddle ends up picking up the victory. So that's exciting. We then go right into that next match that we were expecting, that being Otis and Randy Orton. Now, the story here has been that the week before, after the other match, I believe Randy was facing Chad Gable at that point. But he tried to get an RKO in on Otis when Otis slid into the ring to try to attack him. Um, so the thought process was, well, maybe Otis is just un-RKOable. And Randy was set to prove that that just wasn't true. And after several attempts, we did have a DDT. And then Randy was eventually able to get the RKO in. And that would give him the victory. The interesting part was Riddle was like, "Now I can give you my gift," and what he wanted to give him was a hug. And Randy's just like, "No, I am not. No, we're not doing this." And eventually, between Riddle and the crowd, they got Randy to give in to the hug, and then he pretended like he was going to RKO him, and then he went back in for another hug. It was just kind of a fun segment there. We then go to a promo for an upcoming segment. We're going to see The Miz and Maurice renew their vows with a special guest officiant. I don't know if at this point or later we find out that that special officiant is actually none other than Eric Bischoff. So that's exciting to see him back, kind of taking part in the show in some form. We then did get a backstage segment from Kevin Owens. Now, keeping in mind that Kevin Owens is the only one that was actually physically there. Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley and Big E were not able to actually physically attend. So, of course, Kevin makes a big deal about that. He is interrupted by, I believe he was interrupted by MVP. I could be wrong. So he essentially took all the credit for the attack on Bobby Lashley and Big E the week before. We then have Dana Brooke and Reggie in a mixed tag match against Tamina and R-Truth. I love R-Truth. No joke, he's so entertaining. Like, you know that he's not ever going to probably win a championship again, except maybe the 24/7 again. But he's still entertaining, and he can still put someone over like no other. He really can. So Reggie and Dana end up picking up the win, and Tamina is, of course, furious with R-Truth because he ended up taking the pin, but that's just because she really wants that 24/7 championship. We then go backstage. We do not see Rhea Ripley that night. However, we do get a segment with Nikki ASH, and she challenges Carmella and Queen Zelina to a rematch for the tag team championships. Eventually, we'll get back to that, but that's kind of where we leave that for now. We then have the end of the RK Bronament. Our two finalists, of course, were the Mysterios, Rey and Dominic, and the Street Profits. I like both of these teams, I honestly do, but I was rooting for the Street Profits. They're such a fun group of guys. They really are. They went back and forth, and it looked like either one could really take the other. At the end of the day, the Street Profits did pick up the win. So at day one, they will be taking on RK Bro. So that should be a fun little match. You do get two babyface teams, and that's a little weird, but you can make it work. I really think that with that talent, you can. We then get the video package of what's transpired between AJ and Omos. And then AJ comes out. He's in the ring. He then notices a sign from oh my gosh, I don't know why I can't think of his name now. From NXT, Grayson Waller. And so I think that was actually a fun little way to kind of introduce him to the mainstream audience, if you will, without necessarily fully calling him up. And I think it's been kind of fun that both AJ and Riddle have been going to NXT, kind of keeping things going there. We then did get Apollo Crews come out, and he essentially challenged AJ against a match against Commander Aziz. Well, that wasn't going to happen. We do end up getting Apollo Crews versus AJ Styles. It was kind of fun because we did get the first Styles clash that we haven't seen. We haven't seen it for quite some time. So that was kind of a fun way to end that. We then have Kevin Owens. He comes out, and so no, MVP did not interrupt then. He interrupts now when Kevin Owens actually comes out. That was just a backstage segment, really there. But But now Kevin Owens actually comes out and MVP interrupts him, and Cedric Alexander challenges him to a match. Kevin Owens ends up picking up the victory in that match, but I mean, Cedric Alexander got his hits in there too. So then we have it looked like we might be getting actually Owens versus Shelton Benjamin too, but Kevin Owens is not necessarily having that. He just hit him with a stunner and left. We then are getting the United States Championship match. Damian Priest taking on Dolph Ziggler. We end up getting a DQ finish from Dolph Ziggler. What this means is that, yes, technically Dolph Ziggler won, but because it was a regular match and it was a DQ finish, Damian still retains his title. So this could mean that maybe we do end up getting that match again, and that would be okay. Damian Priest and Dolph were really good. So we then go to the vow renewal. Yeah, I know, exciting stuff. So I didn't really care for the fact that they added in some day one stuff to this. I feel like they could have left that out and made it more about the actual vow renewal. I get that it was partly to build up the match as well at the same time, but I think you kind of miss the point of it, and it takes away a little bit of the importance of an actual vow renewal. At the end of the day, when they got to the objection part, and keep in mind that Miz and Maurice are in white. Miz is a little off white, but it's still white. So Edge comes out, of course, and he's assuring them that he's happy for them, and he's not trying to ruin their ceremony at all. He certainly isn't. He has some things to say about the upcoming match, though, and as it looks like he's turning ready to leave, he said, "You didn't really want this to be a white wedding, did you?" And the lights flash red, kind of indicating back to Edge's Brood days. And before he left the ring, this black tar type substance was dumped on Miz and Maurice, completely ruining the ceremony. But it really draws back and it draws attention to the fact that there is a match. It does answer that question as to whether Beth is going to end up getting involved. And I think it's pretty safe to say that not at this point. If they continue this feud, they could start to include Maurice and Beth. But at this point, as far as this day one match, no. We're not looking to see that. So that's where we leave the show. That's Monday Night Raw, folks. All right. Thanks.